FI Bcom Semester 1, Subject Economics. First of all, I give you some information about our subject, our paper name and our paper number or a paper code. Subject is Economics. Our paper name is Principles of Economics Part 1. Our subject code or paper number CC 101. I repeat, our subject is Economics. Our paper name is Principles of Economics Part 1. Our paper code or paper number CC 101. Kumar Prakashan and Sudhir Prakashan. The books is available in a market. Mostly our college students, they are buying to the Kumar Prakashan's book. Our syllabus divide by the 4 unit. Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3 and Unit 4. Unit 1, the name is Demand and Utility. Second unit, the name is Consumers Equilibrium. Third unit, the name is Price Elasticity of Demand. Fourth unit, the name is Production Function. Today I am starting to first unit, and our topic is meaning of utility and law of demand. What is the meaning of utility and law of demand? In a common way, utility means satisfaction. I explain totally. The terms utility has a special meaning in economics. To a common man, utility means satisfaction. But in economics, the terms utility refer to the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. A commodity has a utility if it can satisfy any of human wants. I give you an example like food. Food has utility because it can satisfy hunger. Second is bitter medicines. Bitter medicines possess utility because there are patients who need them. It must remember that utility does not refer to objective quality of the commodity. It is true that food has some chemical properties which help us in satisfying our hunger. But in economics, utility has nothing to do with such intrinsic power of goods. The concept of utility is used objectively. Utility resides not in the commodity, it resides in our mind. Utility is purely psychological concept. I give you one example like a cigarette. A cigarette is a physically same for all persons. But it possesses utility only for those persons who are found fond of smoking. It does not possess utility for those who dislike smoking. In the same way, mutton has utility for non-vegetarians but the same has no utility for the vegetarians. Utility is a psychological concept. It cannot be measured. It means it is difficult to quantify utility exactly. We cannot say how much utility do we get from this textbook. Though there is no doubt that this textbook yields utility to us. Utility concept given by the British economist. The name is Alfred Marshall. They explaining that things with the help of example. I give you that example. Mr. X is ready to pay 50 paisa for a cigarette. We may say that to him the utility of a cigarette is as much as that of 50 paisa. If some other person like Mr. Y is ready to pay 1 rupee for the same cigarette, it means same cigarette has utility worth 1 rupees for Mr. Y, but this method of measuring utility is objectionable. Mr. Y may be much wealthier than Mr. X, and hence a rupee may be less important to Mr. Y than Mr. X. This is so. Utility of a cigarette may be less for Mr. Y than for Mr. X. Mr. Y pays more not because cigarette is more important to him, but because money is less important to him. It follows that since the importance of a rupee is different from different person, it cannot be used as a measuring rod. According to modern economists, utility is measurable neither in theory nor in practice. It is comparable only. It is possible to say whether the utility of a cup of tea is greater or less than that of a cup of tea, but it is not possible to say by how much it is greater or a less. I am explaining that thing. They are defined to the meaning of utility. My second topic is law of demand with the help of diminishing marginal utility. Law of demand given by the Marshall. They are saying that things other factors remain constant in that time price of commodity is improve or in increase, that time the demand is decrease, and price of commodity is decrease, that time demand is increase. This is the law of demand given by the Marshall. Professor Marshall explained law of demand with the help of table and graph also. First of all, I am giving to the explanation of a table. Let us explain it graphical with the help of a hypothetical illustration. The law of diminishing marginal utility as explained above says that as a consumer gets more and more of a commodity A, he gets less marginal utility from each additional unit of good A. The law of demand states in inverse relation between price and demand for the product. I explain table. If you don't understand, you are draw that table in your notebook, and after you are listening to my lecture, the table there are divided by three column: first column, second column, and third column. First column name is units of goods A, or if you put into X, Y, Z, anything, but I putting to the A, units of good A. Second column is price of commodity. Third column is marginal utility. Unit divide to in a 1 2 3 4 5 in a price of commodity 5 4 3 2 and 1. Marginal utility, it's same like a price 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, first of all I explain that thing. Okay, if commodity is 1 unit, in that time price is 5 rupees and marginal utility also 5. If you are increase commodity of A 1 to 2, in that time your price is decrease and it is 4 rupees. In the same marginal utility also 4. You are showing to the table. In that time, if you are improving more and more unit of the commodity, that time price is decrease. Is it means that if price is less, you are buying to the more and more unit of the commodity. If price is high, so you cannot buying to the more and more unit of the commodity. And if you are getting to the if price is high, in that time we are getting to the only one unit of the commodity, they are giving to the much satisfaction or a much marginal utility. If you are getting to the high, maximum unit like a 5, the price is less, but and that time you are getting to the more commodity, but in that time you are getting to the less marginal utility, because of the reason you having to the much commodities like A. Okay, that's why it means कि if you are buying to the more and more unit of the commodity, you are getting to the less satisfaction. If you are buying to the uh, less commodity, so you are getting to the higher satisfaction. If you are increasing commodities units, so they are giving to the they are giving to the negative effect for your satisfaction, and there is satisfaction is reduced. I'm explaining that thing in a word. In order to get maximum satisfaction or a utility, the consumer compares marginal utility that he gets from the additional unit of commodity and the marginal dissatisfaction that he experienced by paying the price of getting it. He would stop buying when the marginal utility of the commodity A becomes equal to its price. In other words, the condition of equilibrium is MUA, MU capital and A also a capital, MUA equal to PA. MU defined to the marginal utility and A defined to the commodity. It means that marginal utility of a commodity equal to PA, P defined to the price of a commodity. The MU from second unit of A equal to 4 units and the price is equal to rupees 4. So he would buy 2 unit of A. If price of A declined to rupees 3, the earlier equilibrium between price and marginal utility is disturbed. In order to equate to the two, he has to reduce marginal utility, so that is become equal to lower price like rupees 3. He buys more of A 3 unit instead of 2, so that its marginal utility will fall to 3 and become equal to price. If the price falls still further to say rupees 2, he would buy 4 units of A to equate price with marginal utility. In order to equate price with marginal utility, it means to get maximum satisfaction, the consumer buys more at a lower price and vice versa. The downward sloping MU curve is transformed into the demand curve. After we are drawing to the I am explaining to the graph of law of demand with the help of marginal utility. X defined to the R marginal utility, Y defined to the R price. In a y-axis you are putting to the 0 1 2 3 4 5. In a same way x-axis you are putting to the 1 2 3 4 5. If your price is 5 rupees, that time we are getting to the 1 unit of satisfaction. If your price is down to 4 rupees, in that time it is increased to 2 and you are putting to the B point. In a first you are putting to the A point. If you are if you are decreasing price of commodity A, in that time your satisfaction will be improved, and they are defined to the A B C D E point, and you are making to the graph. It is straight line that is known as a demand curve. In the diagram, marginal utility and price are measured along y-axis and quantity demand along x-axis. The downward slope MU curve show that the consumption of commodity A increase from 1 to 5 unit. MU goes on falling. To be noted that the law of diminishing marginal utility assumes that marginal utility derived from the good depends upon its stock only, and that it is independent. It does not depend upon substitutes and complements. The MU curve is transformed into the demand curve of the consumer of the product A in the diagram. In the diagram, below price is shown on y-axis and demand on x-axis. It's shown an inverse relationship between price and demand. At the price of rupees 5, the demand equal to 1 unit, and at the price of rupees 4, demand increased to 2 unit, and so on. The demand curve or the law of demand can be derived from the law of diminishing marginal utility. After that, I am explaining limitations of law of demand. There are some limitations. First one is inferior goods. The law of demand is not applicable in the case of agriculture product. The name is inferior goods. Like I give you example, maize, bajra, jowar, etc. They are inferior goods. The rise in the income or fall in the price of commodity may lead to reduce in the demand of the product. The expense of the demand, we see the contraction in the demand, and both income effect and substitute effect is negligible. In the case of given goods, the income effect is also negative. Professor Marshall has ignored the demand of the inferior goods. That's why their law is failed with the explanation of inferior demand. Second one is prestigious goods like gold, silver, diamond. They are counted as a prestigious good. Are purchased to show the prestige of rich people. Here the demand reduce if price reduce and demand rises if prices rises. So they cannot explain law of demand because it is a same relation. It is a defined to the same relation. That's why it is count as a limitations of law of demand. Third one is measurement of utility. In a law of demand, the basis of utility, the measurement of utility is more important. It is difficult to give precise weightage of the utility. It means that we cannot Professor Marshall saying that okay, we are counting to utility with the help of money, but it is not possible because of the reason that if person will be changed, that time their money level will be changed, so they cannot uh, explaining properly measurement of utility. That's why they are count as a limitations of law of demand. Next one is marginal utility of money. It is estimated in the theory that the marginal utility of money is measured with price of the commodity. But this thing is not true. The utility of money changes with the time from first date of month to the last date of the month. The marginal utility of money is not stable. That's why they are count as a limitations of law of demand. Because of the reason Marshall cannot explaining properly marginal utility of money. Next one is absolute presentation. Professor Marshall has considered that the demand of a commodity is an absolute demand. Usually, the demand of any commodity is always relative to the other product or other services. It can be independent. It cannot be independent. It is dependent to other things. Like I give you one example. Okay, you are buying to the spectacle. If you cannot buying to the glasses, so they cannot. We cannot using to the spectacle. If you are buying to the glasses after you are using to the your spectacle, it means that it is dependent to it means that your spectacle frame, it is dependent to your glasses, and your glasses, it is dependent to our frame. So in that time dependent commodities is available. That's why they are count as a law limitations of law of demand. Last one is other limitations. Professor Marshall has taken the base of diminishing marginal utility theory to explain the law of demand, ignoring the time elements and other limitations like indivisibility, the income effects and substitute effects also. Professor Hicks has taken care of above limitation in the indifference curve approach or a law of demand approach.